right, y'all, I am finally sitting down to share with you guys our curriculum choices for this school year. You know, I normally try to do this video in the summer, definitely before we've already started back, but I kind of got to be honest with you that I think that maybe there's something to be said for waiting to do this video until we have actually already started, because I tend to, especially when trying new things, I tend to change things if we don't really like it. So sometimes what we end up using is not what I shared with you guys in the curriculum video at the beginning of the year. So I kind of like that we already have, not much, but a little bit of school time under our belt before I am sharing this video. I can at least speak a little bit about some of the curriculums that are new to us and whether or not we like them so far. A couple little housekeeping things, announcements to take care of before we jump into all the curriculum goodness that I know you're here for. Number one, I wanted to remind you guys that my homeschooling course is back open. This is a course I launched in the fall of last year, and I have reopened enrollment, and that course is a self-paced course. It's a 6-week, not all inclusive. I'm not making you like margaritas and fluffing your sheets while you take the course. I would if I could, though, know that. It's an all-encompassing course. It kind of covers nuts to bolts, A to Z homeschooling. It's for new homeschoolers as well as veteran homeschoolers who need a little bit of inspiration, refresh for their school year. It's completely self-paced, and you have access to it for a lifetime. So you can start it and take it at your own pace. It's not something that you have to finish in 6 weeks, but it is laid out in a 6-week format. And because y'all are my special YouTube friends, I do have a discount code for you guys. I will put all that information down below in the description box if you want to check it out. And I also wanted to just encourage you that if you are maybe not wanting to do the course, but you're still looking for some homeschooling inspiration as well as other things, kind of, you know me, I'm a little all over the place, but I do have my email newsletter, and that goes out twice a week, Wednesdays and Sundays. I'm not trying to spam your inboxes with anything. On Wednesdays, I like to send you guys an encouraging email, some kind of bit of inspiration or just encouragement in your journey as a mother and a parent and homeschooling sometimes and all of that. And the reason that I'm sharing this now is because the feedback that I get from the emails is so kind and so sweet. And so many of you say like how much you love it and look forward to it. So it's not something that I talk about here often. So I just wanted to remind you that that's there. Definitely join my email friends list if you are interested in just staying up to date on when new things are coming out, if I launch any new courses or any of that kind of stuff, as well as just some friendly conversation between you and I. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit everything into one video. It's a little tough with so many grades and everything. We'll see. We'll see how long-winded I end up getting. I'm going to start with my high schooler and my 8th grader, and we'll kind of go from there and see if I end up needing to split it up. So I have a high schooler all the way down to preschoolers. We've pretty much been homeschooling their entire educational journey, especially my oldest two. And I'm really weird about grade levels with my younger kids especially. Obviously, the older you get, it's more like you got to stick with grade levels. I'm a firm believer in just letting your child be at whatever level they're at and kind of taking the pressure off for grade levels on different subjects. However, obviously that changes a little bit once you get to high school and older when you've got transcripts and things to deal with. So my oldest is in 10th grade this year, and then I have an 8th grader. And so you'll hear as I'm explaining this stuff, my 8th grader is actually taking some of these courses as well, and she'll be earning some high school credits ahead of time. So that's fantastic. That's something that she wanted to do. It is not something that I pushed on her or pressured her to do, but it's something that she wanted to do. So she is taking some of the high school classes with my older daughter. She'll be getting credit for those for her transcript a little early. So that's great. 5 minutes in. Did we ever think we'd get here? Probably not. All right, so first things first, we made a switch up in history this year. I told you guys last year we used Knotgrass history, and my daughter really liked it. So my choosing to switch was born out of lots of different decisions that I won't go into, but it had absolutely nothing to do with not liking Knotgrass. I want to be very clear there. Knotgrass was great. We were not displeased with Knotgrass history in any way, but again, without going into a ton of detail, we needed to simplify some things and condense some things for other subjects, so that is why we ended up switching history. And this year we decided to go with American history. This is from Master Books, and this is basically covering early settlement to today. So this is her modern history. So this is a course that both of my girls are doing, my 8th grader and my 10th grader. And then you have the teacher book, though this is not actually the teacher book other than the fact that the answers are in the back of it. it's really the student it's the student workbook because it has all of their worksheets for their daily assignments, as well as some, reference sheets and stuff that they need throughout the course. And it also has the weekly lesson schedule for checking that off. Again, I could see where depending on the ages or what your situation is, you as a parent might want to be the one to do that. But this is something that I let my kids have control over. So part of the benefit for us in switching to this year, and part of the reason that we did it, is because you will see that it is laid out very, very simply. It is literally first semester, week 1, day 1, you read chapter 1, you do the lesson assignment, which is right here. They're pretty simple. It's usually roughly 10 questions. Let me see if I can flip here. It's usually roughly 10 questions. There's some true, false, and multiple choice, and fill in the blank. And they're usually roughly 10 questions. And then on Friday, so they do that 4 days a week. And then on Fridays, they work on their semester-long project. So they have a big 5-page essay that's basically a semester-long project, and they begin working on that on Fridays. So that kind of gives them that time throughout the whole first semester to work on that. The reason that I like this is because of our schedule and everything. I want my kids to be able to do school even when I'm not available. If I've got to take another child to an appointment, we've got a lot of changes in our family this year. And some of the stuff all of it, I've not spoken about at all. I've not talked about at all, but different kids that are going to be going to different therapies and things like that. We've kind of got a lot on our plate this year, just to be totally, frankly honest. Some children that have been newly diagnosed with some things. I just have a lot going on this school year, and it actually pains me a little bit because history is my favorite subject. It's my favorite subject to teach. It's my favorite subject to participate with my kids in. I love sitting down and really enriching their history curriculum. But that's why I like this, because on the days where I am totally available, I can sit down, I can read aloud to them, and we can discuss, we can add in things. We've already done that with the Incas and Mayas, adding in documentaries and things like that. I can add into it. But if I'm not around, if I'm not available, if I've got to be somewhere else, they can sit down and do this easily without me. And the way that the lessons are broken up, it's easy for me to pick back up and do it with them, or them to do it without me, and not have, too much get lost in the in-between. So it's kind of a long-winded answer, but I like that this can be both independent, very independent, without any parental help really, or I can get involved if I want to, need to, they want me to, that kind of thing. So that's why we've chosen to switch to this. So next up, talking about literature, this is called Illuminating Literature When Worlds Collide. And I honestly wish I could remember how I stumbled across this when I was doing all of my curriculum research a few months ago. Usually I spend 2 or 3 days just deep diving, trying to problem solve for issues we've had, and I just go down the rabbit hole and nobody sees me for 3 days. And in that 3-day homeschool curriculum binge is what we'll call it, I came across this and it looked very interesting to me. As I said, this year I'm just looking for not so much open and go, but just a little bit more laid out and planned out for me, a little more help on my end. So there are 8 books that your student is reading throughout this course, basically 1 a month throughout the school year. And I really like how this is laid out, because it is laid out so that you could do this with a co-op. You could do this with a homeschool group if you've got friends who are also homeschoolers and one of you wants to teach this course, because she gives you many different ways to do it. But it kind of works out so that you could do 1 week with the teacher, where the students meet with the teacher, and she kind of even has it laid out where you could cram that all into 1 long day to get kind of going. And then you spend sorry, I hear the goat outside getting into things. Then you spend week 2 and 3 reading the book. The student spends week 2 and 3 reading the book and working in their novel notebooks and taking notes of certain things. It kind of tells them exactly what to do. And then the 4th week is coming back together to work on the project, discuss the book, and prep for the next book. So again, this works really well for my schedule because it allows me to kind of look at it and go, okay, the first week of the month, I know that this is what we're doing. We do each day. We don't cram it all into one day. We just meet for every day for that week, the first week, and go over the prep for the book, and then they're reading week 2 and week 3, and then week 4 we come back together for the project part. So I really like that. That gives me a lot of flexibility. Aside from all of that, Sharon Watson, I haven't looked into her at all. I'll be honest. I'm going to after this video, because as we have started getting through this, I feel like this woman is my spirit animal, okay? I love that there's a teeny bit of, I wouldn't even necessarily really call it sarcasm, but a teeny bit of that written into how she's explaining things to the kids. Like, she's fully acknowledging that they may look at these books and think, this is boring. And after you read it, you may find that you still think it's boring. She asks you to address maybe why you think it's boring. There's just so many little things that she says as I'm reading through it that I laugh out loud. My girls snicker, and they all are like, this is what, if I wrote a literature curriculum, this is what I would say. Like, again, we're only the first book in, but so far I really love this. And I believe when I looked on her website, she has 2 different literature courses. I cannot remember what the second one is called. And I also believe they can be taken in any order. You don't have to do this one first and then the other one second. She also has some writing curriculums that I actually, after doing this for a week, I did order one of her writing curriculums. I'm going to show you what we're doing for writing. And it's not that we dislike it, but I just love this so much that I want to, for my own edification, kind of see the writing curriculum, see what I think of it, and maybe we'll be switching to that. I don't know, we'll see. But so far, I really like this. Like I said, it's 8 books that they read, and there's projects and things they'll be doing in here with it. But so far, this has just been chef's kiss for literature curriculum. So in addition to, sorry, I still kind of have my cold going on. In addition to the literature, we're also adding in some writing and grammar things. This is what we are currently doing for writing. Again, I do not know how I came across this, but this is called the Lost Tools of Writing. And there are 3 levels of this. It's a writing curriculum that is essentially created for ages 12 years old through, senior year of high school, basically. And over the course of the curriculum, your student will be writing 9 essays. And it's just essentially going back and teaching them what they consider to be the lost tools of writing. The ability to write well, to write persuasive essays. Basically, it goes through and really tries to hone in and teach the children the 5 canons of writing, the 5 canons of composition, if you will. That's really what the whole course is built around. So you do have the teacher guide, you have the student workbook, and then you can also purchase a video component, which initially I did not purchase, but I did over this weekend decide that I wanted to add that element in. Again, to give myself a bit of a teaching break if I need it, for them to be able to watch videos that kind of are going through and helping teach them this stuff as they're working on it. And in conjunction with, my mouth is not working well today, in conjunction with the Lost Tools of Writing, I wanted to mention this that I came across. It's called Our Mother Tongue, A Guide to English Grammar, and you have the student workbook as well as an answer key. To me, this is a lot like if you've ever used any of those workbooks that are like 180 days of social studies or 180 days of science, and they're just kind of daily sheets to jog your child's brain in those different subjects. The reason that I really like this one is because it basically starts at the beginning, starts with the 8 classes of words is Unit 1, so you're going through nouns, verbs, prepositions, conjunctions. Unit 2 is the sentence, going through the kinds of sentences, the predicate modified by an adverb, all of that kind of stuff. Unit 3 is special properties of nouns and pronouns. Unit 4 is special properties of verbs. Unit 5 is verbals, participles, don't dangle your participle. Unit 6 is special properties of modifiers, comparative and superlative modifiers, dangling or misplaced modifiers. So it's kind of going through English grammar start to finish, but in little short bites. It's a great refresher, especially if you had a student that maybe didn't get a lot of this in other curriculums that they were doing. I feel like depending on what grammar and English and type curriculum you were using in the past, some of this stuff wasn't as in depth. I know curriculums like The Good and the Beautiful are really heavy on sentence structure and diagramming sentences, but others aren't. It's kind of just glossed over a little bit. So I think this is a great way to reinforce it. And also for you as a parent, if you are struggling with guiding or teaching some of these things, this would be a great crash course for you to refresh these things in your own mind if you feel like you need that before you're sitting down to help your student. Maybe one of these days I'll do a video. Let me know if you guys have any interest in this, but like curriculums or different books or things that you can use as the homeschool teacher or parent to refresh your knowledge of subjects so that you can then help your child or teach your child. You know, I'm a big believer that past a certain age, you're not really teaching, you're just guiding, but it's easier to guide when you know the map, you know? A couple years ago, my oldest did this course and she did it by herself and she did not complete the whole thing. And it was kind of a crazy year for us. That was the year that we moved. It was a tough year for us homeschool wise. And so I really wanted to revisit it. And I felt like I wanted to wait until my girls could do it together. I'm a big believer in lumping kids together as much as you can. And so this Introduction to Logic course, I just went and purchased 2 new teacher guides because again, this is master books and the teacher guides are actually the student worksheets. So you have the book for the course and then the teacher guide. This is something I'm going to be teaching to them because I am going to be adding to it a little bit, but it's something that I really want to work with them together on. So like I said, we have kind of it broken down to where the majority of their subjects they're doing without me, except for, you know, illuminating literature the first week and what we need to do together for the essays and stuff like that. But this is something that we sit down and I teach them. So yeah, again, that's something that I really like to support and fill in and add more to via documentaries, books. You don't have to, but I just like to. So know that I do things sometimes because I just like to, not because they are in any way necessary for the course. All right, so for the rest of this is just first semester things we're talking about here. So these are not courses I have physically to show you, so I'll pop up some information here. Both of my girls are doing Shorman for math this year, and my 8th grader is doing Shorman. She's doing Shorman Earth Science. So you can purchase that as a digital thing, and then I just print out everything for her. I've got it here. I just need to like bind it and stuff for her. But the laboratory workbook, the lecture notes, the terms and all that, takes a lot of printer paper to print all that, but I did it. I've got to get those bound for her, but she's doing Shorman Earth Science. I really like the way that it's set up. I like the way that it's graded. And we ended up switching with math and with science for a number of reasons, but my friend Ashley here on YouTube, Ashley Grit and Grace, she shares a ton of homeschool reviews and stuff, and one of the things she talked about was something that we noticed, which is that there can be some gaps with math, especially where it butts into science and things. And so she ended up switching her kids and switching them to Shorman because she felt that it was much more comprehensive in teaching her kids everything that they needed. That's why we decided to go ahead and make the switch even with my 8th grader to Shorman for math and science, because I don't want them to have gaps. I don't want them to have to struggle. I mean, it's, you know, you live and you learn, and some things work great for you for a time, but not forever. And this is just kind of one of those situations. But I really like the way that Shorman's set up. I like the way that it's graded. I like the way that, again, the student just has a lot of ownership over it. And there's lots of review with everything. The way it's set up, to me, it feels like it's set up so that the student can succeed. It's not set up to make it hard for no reason. It's set up to help them succeed. And I really like that. My 10th grader is doing a first semester health class. So she's doing the Apologia Health and Nutrition course. As I understand it, that one can be done both as a full year class or a 1 semester class. So she's doing that as a 1 semester class right now for a number of reasons, but I took a health and nutrition class in high school. I wanted her to take one as well, and so we just felt like, let's do that, but we'll just do it as a 1 semester class. So that's what she's doing this first semester, is the health and nutrition. I just ordered it the other day because we planned on doing something else and changed our mind. Again, probably why it's a good thing that I waited to film this, because if I had filmed this even just a few weeks ago, a couple of things would have changed already. So I don't have the books here to show you, but it is not an online course. It's a physical course. And then as far as foreign language goes, because of her goals and plans and things that she would like to do potentially after high school, she has decided to do ASL, or American Sign Language, as her foreign language. She potentially would like to work with children, with special needs children, in therapy settings, potentially animal and child therapy settings. She felt like learning ASL could be very beneficial to her in being able to communicate with children who speak sign language. So is that how you say it? Do you say speak sign language or sign language? I'm not sure exactly how you're supposed to say that. I looked into a number of options, and I will link down below the one that we settled on. The reason that I chose this one is because there's 20 different lessons, and it is kind of very like self-paced. I like that. I want her to take her time. This is something that, you don't want to move on when you don't know what you need to learn. So I've told her, and I'll kind of keep you guys updated on how it goes, but like, you tell me how long it's taking you to do things so that we can kind of make sure that that fits into the parameters for her high school credit. And then it also offers different like live situations, so you can go live with other students and speak sign language with each other and practice and stuff. In the lessons themselves, they actually have multiple people signing. So they have multiple people showing you and teaching you the signs, which I think is great because, again, you're kind of seeing it different ways. Not only is it helping you to see how you might see it from different people, right? It never looks quite exactly the same person to person, but also helps the child if they kind of see the variations, right? Like when we're speaking English, we have different inflections, we have different accents, we have different ways of saying things. People have lots of different ways sometimes to pronounce words, some of which are just flat out incorrect, but people have different inflections and tones, and I think it's kind of the same with sign language, right? So there's a little bit of wiggle room there in exactly how you sign the sign. That's what she's doing. Shelby wanted to do a foreign language this year. I felt like with her already taking other high school level classes and earning credit, I didn't really want to put her into a full Spanish curriculum. She would like to do Spanish, and I didn't want to put her into like BJU or one of those that, if you look it up, they tell you this class takes an hour a day, an hour and a half a day. I didn't want her to add that much to her workload this year. She's got a lot going on too, outside of school, different things that they're doing and stuff. So I just didn't want to bury them in things just to bury them in things, especially for her not even being in high school yet. So she's just doing Babble. I paid for a Babble subscription. I've heard really, really good things about it. And so I'll let you guys know how she likes that. Obviously, that's not something that's going to give her any kind of a credit or whatever, but she's in the 8th grade. So she's going to do Babble in order to get some Spanish in, and hopefully that'll prepare her so when she does go into the harder Spanish curriculums for high school, she'll be ready, and feel confident. Okay, I think that covers everything for my oldest two. I knew I wanted to take some time to explain some different things to you guys and not just hold it up and say, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. I mean, I don't feel like that really helps me much. I like to know why people choose the things that they do, if they've used it before, what they like about it and don't like about it, if it's brand new to them, what drew them to it. That's kind of how I like to go about finding reviews for curriculum and such. So hopefully, not that you expected this video to be short. You should know by now that I am nothing if not long-winded, but hopefully that kind of gives you an explanation as to where we're at. At some point, I will update you guys more. Perhaps in my next curriculum video where I share what we're doing with some of our younger kids, I can go into a little bit more detail about kind of what situational things have changed and stuff for us. I'll talk about that a little bit more in future videos. It's always tough for me to figure out exactly where the line is with not oversharing too much personal stuff about my kids. It's hard for me to not share certain things if I'm going to be talking about curriculum or struggles, or you know what I mean. Anyways, that's it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to check out the discount code down below if you guys want to join the homeschooling course. I also have a free homeschool group that you guys can join. There are thousands, nearly 5,000, I believe, people in the Facebook group there. So I'll put that information, and then you can also just join the newsletter, which is totally free. That and the Facebook group are both totally free. If you just want a little bit more, if you're not totally sick of me and you'd like a little bit more, you can always do that. So that's it for today's video, y'all, and I will see you again very soon.